Hi friends, and welcome back to another video when we are making you into a social butterfly. So I know that you really liked the video how to talk to anyone, so this is part 2 of that video. And since I am dressed for the occasion of a party, we can use that as an example for today's video, because I know that a lot of people find it really intimidating to go to an event alone or just a party alone where you maybe know one person and not that many people. But if you just know the basics of how to make new connections, you're gonna feel much more comfortable walking into the room, just knowing what to do. So that is what this video is all about. So the first thing I would really recommend you to do is that whenever you enter this party or this event, that you first go and calm yourself down. And what you could do is just like say that you need to go to the toilet, or just like not say anything, just smile and just go to the toilet. People will understand. So you can just get some time to ground yourself, to just stand in the mirror, to just close your eyes and just be and just breathe, okay? Because the worst part is always to get there in the beginning, when it feels like a lot, you don't know anyone, it can feel like a lot of So just to go there and calm yourself down, take some minutes to just breathe. It's gonna make wonders for how you're gonna feel, okay? So that's the first thing I would do. The second thing I would do is to just stand there in the mirror and give yourself compliments. Because you may think that, oh, I don't really believe those things, like looking good if you feel like you're not looking good, or if you don't like your looks. But by just giving yourself compliments for how your looks, like your brain is not gonna know the difference. They just know that these are things you're saying. They don't know if it's true or a lie. It's just gonna take it like, yes, you look good, right? So you get that little bit of a confidence boost before going out there. And this is also the time where you just check that everything is in order. Does your makeup look good? Do you have anything in your teeth? What about your hair? Do you have toilet paper from your pants? Like, you're checking everything, so you don't need to think about that when you're going out to people, because you checked and you know that you look stunning, and you have told yourself that too. So that is just the first thing to do, just to calm yourself down and then know that everything is good and have a confidence boost, because that is the best way to meet people, when you feel more zen and good in your own shoes, okay? So then when you have calmed yourself down and you're ready, it's time to go out to the party. And this is like a personal thing, but I find it so amazing to just like go and hug people, okay? Because, and you might think like, okay, that seems like a really bold thing to do, to just go and hug people you don't know. But I feel like it's such a nice way to just start the interaction, okay? Just by giving the other person a hug, you have already like crossed the barrier of like body contact. And I know you should also ask if people want a hug, or if it's okay. You should do that, because not everyone is comfortable with that. But I feel like most of the times people are gonna see it as a good thing, and it's gonna be much easier to talk with the person when you have already like introduced yourself by giving them a hug. But that's a personal thing. It's the thing that really works for me. And if you start to do it, maybe it can work for you too. And maybe it can feel a little bit strange in the beginning, but trust me, when it's like there, it's a habit, like it's gonna make things just a lot smoother for you. Because if you just go up and you like shake hands, it feels so much more like corporate and more stiff. It's not gonna be the same way as just like giving people a hug. So it feels like a friendship already. You are like treating this interaction as a friend already, even though you have never met them before. Because that's the whole key. Like, when you go up to a person and talk to them like you would talk to a good friend, people are going to want to be friends with you, okay? And that is only because that's the vibe you're giving. So they're gonna be drawn to that. Like, oh, she is friendly. She is such a cool person. Yes, I want to be her friend. She's already treating me like a friend. let's be friends. And after the hug, after whatever you do, it's going to be a lot easier to keep the conversation. And if you feel like you're out of words, you don't know what to say to this person because you don't know them, you don't know anything about them, so how could you have a conversation? Well, questions. Okay, questions is the answer all the time. And it's a really good thing to also just play a little bit dumb sometimes, to just ask questions that you kind of know the answer to, but that will make them feel special and like you are just asking them for this question and for this information. You know, they feel like the chosen one in that way, if you know what I'm saying. So that's just gonna keep the friendliness going, and it's going to ensure that the person likes you, kind of, that you chose them. Because that has also happened a lot of times. Like, some people, they do have resting bitch face, and maybe you before would think that, oh, they don't want to talk, or maybe they don't like me, or they're judging me. Oftentimes people are maybe just not thinking about it, they just have a resting bitch face, or they are just a little bit insecure themselves. So it has never happened when I go up to a person that looks a little bit like, it has never happened that that person has been rude or turned me down. They have kind of just changed their whole body language when I approach them with a hug and asking questions and just like choosing them to interact with, you know? People just like becomes happier because you are serving that energy. You're giving the vibe to the conversation. And don't worry too much like what to ask, how to keep the conversation going. Just as long as you listen, it's always going to be questions to be asked if you just listen. If you're not in your own head and just listen to what the other person is actually saying, it's going to be a lot easier for you to just keep the conversation going. And the main thing with us human beings is that we really love to hear our own voice. So you can almost just let them talk all the time, because people like that. People like to talk. You just ask questions, listen, and they talk. Like, that is how you're gonna be seen as really likable, because people are gonna be like, wow, this conversation is so interesting because I'm talking. You know, it's kind of funny how we work, but it's true. That is how it is. And maybe after a while they are going to ask you questions too, but sometimes that is not the case. And I know that is not that fun, because if the other person is just talking and you're just standing there, it's not the most interesting thing, but you are just practicing being a good conversationalist. You're getting more comfortable in the situation. So if this person that you start to talk to is one of those people who just talks and talks and talks, you can also just leave the conversation in a friendly way. You don't have to be there all the time, but then at least you have gotten some practice. So when you move on to the next conversation, just follow the same recipe and see if this is a person who also know the rule of asking questions back. So you also can share a little bit about yourself. Those people are the people you want to be friends with, okay? If that's your main goal, to make friends, that's the people you really want to be friends with, because you want them, of course, to feel interesting, but you also want them to be interested in you, to like build a good friendship. Because if you are with a person who only talks about themselves and aren't really interested in you, it can kind of turn into this friendship when you know everything about them, but they don't really know you, because they talk a lot. They just talk and talk and talk. And some people just don't know. Some people just forget to ask questions. That is totally fair. So what you can also try to do is to also, when you're asking the other person the question, you can also answer the question yourself. So they don't need to ask your question because you have already answered it. And not to shit talk men or anything like that, but it's often, it's us ladies who tell them instead of being asked. Or that's at least what I have experienced a lot of the times. The few times it has not been the case, it has felt really special and it's been like a connection, but it's not really that common. So don't be afraid to share information without being asked about it. Some people just forget to ask. So you can try with people who just like talks and talks and talks to add information about yourself too before asking the question and see how they respond. Are they interested? Some people are just not interested at all, so then it's just to move on. And other people are like, wow, that's so cool, and then start talk around that. So it's up to you. You just need to see the situation, and if it feels right, you just need to take the lead on this conversation, where it's going, and see how the other person is going to follow. Not to turn this video into like a dating video or anything, or how to flirt, like I can make another video about that, but like if you're at the party, like it happens, you see someone cute and you are like, whoa, how can I talk to that person? How can I flirt? How can I do whatever? But I feel like the key is just to go up to the person and have a polite conversation, just to be kind and see like what the response is, like if there is any chemistry, just to like not put this at like a high pressure situation, just to have a normal conversation, and then you'll see if it gets like a little bit flirty after a while. Like that can happen or it cannot happen. You just have to see, So I started this video with like saying that a lot of people don't like to go into parties or events where they don't know that many people. But I also would like to say that that is a golden opportunity to really get to practice your own skills and to get out of your comfort zone, because you're just on your own by yourself. And that is something that is also going to help you grow your confidence, just by knowing that you can do things by yourself, you can talk to people by yourself, you can make friends by yourself. Just by practicing this and really being comfortable with this, you can be a much more confident person, a much better speaker, and you can build a huge network of people just by knowing the basic of how people work, how a conversation work, how to just like be perceived in a room. Like those things are so important, and what you're talking about, that isn't really the essence here. Like that will just come naturally in the conversation. You don't have to have like a sheet of questions to ask. You don't have to have a sheet of these things you just need to cross off the list for calling it a good conversation. No, you become the best conversationalist when you can just like then and there say whatever feels natural. Okay, share whatever you want to share. So yes, I really hope you enjoyed this video and that you feel more confident to go into a social situation or party or an event by yourself, and you know a little bit more about how to behave and what to do and be a little bit more prepared. As I started this video, you should really watch the How to Talk to Anyone part 1 after this if you have still not watched it, because it gives a lot of knowledge how you can really nail the social situation. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, because that is how other people are gonna find this video as well. And if you are here and you are not subscribed, what are you doing? I publish videos like this every week, so if you want to invest in your future self and learn more, then subscribe. I also think you would love this video if you already have watched the How to Talk to Anyone video. This one is all about how to kind of become magnetic and make everyone like you. So just have a look. It's a lot of good information right here. Or maybe it's here. I think it's here. Howdy.